God of grace, speak to us a new word. Remind us that our lives matter to you and to our world. To that end, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts please you, O Lord, for you alone are our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. It was the question the disciples asked, who of us is the greatest? All of us want to be great. Almost a century ago, Al Capone, one of the most notorious mobsters of all time, for the most part, virtually owned all of Chicago. He trafficked in everything from bootleg booze to prostitution and ordered the murder of anyone who got in his way. He was huge in the crime world. Easy Eddie, as he was known, was Capone's brilliant lawyer whose skill at legal maneuvering kept Capone out of jail for years. And to show his appreciation, Capone paid Easy Eddie very well. He gave him a fenced-in mansion that was so large it filled an entire Chicago city block. Capone gave him domestic help and every creature comfort of the day. Eddie lived the high life of the Chicago mob, and from all outside appearances, he was great. Living the success of the highest magnitude, power, prestige, and everything money could buy. But there was something else at work inside Easy Eddie, something gnawed at his soul that made him question his definition of success. Easy Eddie was a father. He had a son and daughters that he dearly loved. The wealth that he amassed allowed him to shower on them everything money could buy. He sent them to the best schools, spent a lot of time with them, attending their school productions and sporting events and just hanging around. Still, there was a war in his soul that raged. Is this what it means to be successful? There were things Eddie's money couldn't buy: genuine respectability, a sense of integrity in his soul. Easy Eddie's son finished high school and announced that he wanted to go to the Naval Academy in Annapolis. But to get there, you needed more than money. You needed the approval of your congressman. Easy Eddie decided his son's future was more important than his own. And so he approached the authorities and told them he would be willing to testify against Capone. And on the basis of Easy Eddie's witness, Al Capone went to jail. His stranglehold on Chicago broken. And Easy Eddie's son got into the Naval Academy. But the price was severe. Capone swore he would kill him, and in 1937, Easy Eddie was gunned down one evening as he drove his car home. But in his pockets, police removed a gun, a rosary, a crucifix, a religious medallion, and a poem that read, "The clock of life is wound but once, and no man has the power to tell just when the hands will stop at late or early hour. Now is the only time you own. Live, love, toil with a will. Place no faith in time, for the clock may soon be still." Hold that story for a few minutes. Who of us doesn't want to be great? Who of us does not want to succeed? The quiet argument the disciples waged as they walked toward Capernaum does not escape Jesus' ears. A quick read of Mark's gospel regularly portrays Jesus' disciples as rather obtuse, thick-headed, which, by the way, I tend to find rather comforting. Jesus has been trying to get through to the 12 that their arrival in Jerusalem would not usher in the Jesus dynasty, with each of them serving as the secretary of this or that. Rather, Jerusalem would be the place of his death and his resurrection. Jesus has again given what for them seems bad news, and again this time they just don't get it. Instead, they are bickering about which of them will be the greatest when Jesus takes over the capital. Greatest defined as most powerful, most prestigious, most important. Number one. Extrapolate that a bit, and I imagine that dancing around the disciples' heads are visions of the biggest house in town, the largest stock portfolio, the most impressive list of contacts, the most significant cabinet seat. Greatness that would allow them to say, "Aren't I small?" Jesus, having heard the disciples squabbling, asked them just what it was they had been debating along the road. And they immediately turned sheepish, staring down at their sandals, saying nothing. But Jesus knows the content of their quarrel. He sits them down and offers an extraordinary piece of divine, albeit counterintuitive wisdom. Whoever wants to be first must be the last of all and the servant of all. And then to bring his argument home, Jesus brings a little child right into the middle of their circle and points to that child and says, "Whoever welcomes one such as this child in my name welcomes me." And in that simple act, Jesus turns our very human notions of success or greatness on their ear. Children were not doted on then as they are now. Children were, of course, loved by their parents, but no one would have rearranged their schedule to get little Miriam to soccer practice or left work to video little Solomon's play at school. Children stood with others at the bottom of the social order and were of little value until they could become, well, productive and useful. And then, as now, we humans tend to look for success at the top of the ladder, not in that bottom rung of the ladder. And Jesus' point is crystal clear. The measure of your life has nothing to do with success as the world defines it. Your success is not up there, it is down here. And greatness has to do with how you treat the little, the least, the marginalized. Whoever welcomes one such child in my name welcomes me, he says. In other words, your most important work is to care for those the world considers the least. Embrace them. Care for them. Let them take up space in your heart. It was as difficult for them as it is for us. We live in a wildly success-oriented, top-rung world here in LA. It starts early, get our littlest into the best preschool, where there is increasing pressure to focus on mathematics and literacy, even with 3- and 4-year-olds. And why is that? Because we feel the pressure to prepare our kids for the next right school, and the next, right up to the Ivy Leagues. From there, it is climbing the ladder at work. Get the promotion, the award, the big salary, the recognition. We may not argue about who is the greatest, but we think about it. We are aware of what rung of the ladder we inhabit. And when we consider who is the greatest, our eyes always look up, never down. And on the one hand, what's wrong with that definition of success? Excellence is a good thing. A fine education and grand achievements are good things. On the other hand, how do we reconcile the world's version of success with Jesus' words? Jesus, who says, if you want to be first, you must be last, and the servant of all. It is difficult to mesh those two notions, and like the first disciples, we get sucked into assuming that the world's definition of success is the one we really ought to adopt. Our aspirations are top-rung aspirations. We somehow imagine them to be life's purpose, that being great has to do with the job, the salary, the car, the status, the power. That this version of success is the point. That these are the things life is about and the very things that make us happy, that will make us great. To which Jesus says, no, you've gotten it all wrong. Those things are not the measure of a life. They do not make you successful or great. They are simply means to an end. Jesus is not here anti-hard work or a good job or a nice home. What he is warning about is that somehow buying into the notion that those things are the end-all and the be-all of why we are here. Instead, Jesus says, look down the ladder. The end-all and be-all of life is this little child who in that moment stands in as the representative for the poor, the marginalized, anyone the world dismisses as lesser. Whoever welcomes one such child in my name welcomes me. In other words, they are the reason you are here. The orphaned, abused child at child share, the homeless vet at Path, the 3 precious homeless families now living in our Ashton house, the immigrant mowing your lawn and cleaning your home. The measure of a life, the measure of a church, the measure of a nation consists of how well it cares for the least of these. What makes a person great is that they are willing to love and serve not themselves, but other human beings, and in particular, those our society deems insignificant. To be successful, deeply successful, one must be the servant of the least. So you want to be great? To be truly great is to make sacrifices on behalf of others. To be successful is to wield the power you have on behalf of the powerless. To be great is to use your wealth on behalf of the poor. Now I asked you to hold the story of Easy Eddie for a moment, but first I'd like to share a second story. A story of a different sort of greatness. Chicago's O'Hare International Airport is named after one of the city's most famous and heroic sons, Butch O'Hare. And if you ever visit O'Hare Airport, a memorial to his courage and his sacrifice still sits right there between terminals 1 and 2. Butch O'Hare was a fighter pilot assigned to the aircraft carrier Lexington during the Second World War. And about 10 weeks after the attack on Pearl Harbor, O'Hare was flying his single-engine Hellcat fighter plane off the Gilbert Islands. He and another pilot were the only ones aloft when O'Hare spotted a group of 9 Japanese bombers headed straight for his aircraft carrier, the Lexington. O'Hare knew the odds were against him. The other fighter planes on the carrier were refueling and would not have time to take off. It was up to Butch and the other Hellcat to stop the bombers. The odds got even worse when the machine guns on the second Hellcat seized, and it was just Butch O'Hare and 4 minutes between the enemy bombers and the 2,000 crew members aboard the Lexington. Butch dove in and started the attack. The crew of the Lexington watched as he engaged the Japanese bombers, their guns training in on his Hellcat fighter. With astonishing skill, Butch O'Hare emerged victorious, shooting down 5 of the 9 Japanese bombers and badly damaging another. The last 3 were taken out by the planes that managed to get off the decks of the Lexington while the air battle raged above them. President Roosevelt later described Butch O'Hare's actions as one of the most daring, if not the most daring, single action in the history of combat aviation. Butch was promoted 2 ranks, designated the United States Navy's first ace World War II. Now back to Easy Eddie. Easy Eddie, Edward J. O'Hare, Al Capone's ace lawyer, was Navy pilot Butch O'Hare's father. Easy Eddie, who one day determined that greatness had nothing to do with power and wealth, but with the well-being of his children. Edward J. O'Hare, who in the end of the day chose a different version of success. Edward J. O'Hare, who somehow through his Catholic faith came to understand where and how meaning and how greatness were found. For O'Hare, the repentant father, and O'Hare, the daring son. For Jesus, and even one day for his thick-headed disciples, greatness had nothing to do with power for power's sake, with climbing the ladder for climbing the ladder's sake. They were simply tools to be used on behalf of the least. Who of us does not want to be great? Here again, the divine, albeit counterintuitive, wisdom of Jesus. Whoever wants to be first must be the last of all and the servant of all. Let us pray. Lord, we do want to be great, and you clearly tell us that the measure of a life, the measure of a church, the measure of a nation consists of how well it cares for the least of these. But we struggle so to take you seriously. How then do we live? May our lives increasingly be known by the sacrifices we make on behalf of others, the power we wield on behalf of the powerless, the wealth we use on behalf of the poor, the energies we spend on behalf of the marginalized. We pray in Jesus, who has shown us the way. Amen and amen.